Hello, I'm Aniyah, and I decided to do my presentation on the biology behind avoidant attachment. And one of the reasons why I decided to do this is because I bring up avoidant attachment a lot in my conversations with other people, and they don't usually know what I'm talking about. And so I guess this would help answer the questions and why exactly people have avoidant attachment and things of that nature. So, what is avoidant attachment? It's essentially when someone keeps their distance emotionally and doesn't like to rely on others. And it often starts during childhood where caregivers are very dismissive or distant about feelings or emotions, and they don't respond much to their feelings. And so over time, the child learns to handle everything alone because showing emotion doesn't give them comfort, right? And so this isn't just like emotional, it's also tied into bio, bi biological factors as well. I'm sorry. Um, when you grow up without consistent emotional support, your stress system starts reacting to that. So your body learns to shut feelings down to stay calm, and even your genes can change through epigenetics, however you want to say it, making you like less sensitive to bonding signals, right? Like oxytocin and your nervous system also gets stuck in like fight or flight mode, making closeness feel stressful or like not safe. And so the brain areas that help you notice emotions or connect get less active. And those are something I'm going to talk about in those are things I'm going to talk about in the next slide. But yeah, over time you just start feeling numb or disconnected, and it often happens without you even like meaning to. So yeah, over time your body basically just decides that avoiding emotions is the safest and best option. And yeah, so going into the brain's role, different parts of the brain help to shape avoidant attachment. The amygdala, sorry, the amygdala gets more reactive, so closeness can feel stressful or unsafe. The prefrontal cortex steps in basically like shuts all emotions down to keep things under control. And then the anterior cingulate cortex, it handles things like rejection or emotional pain, and it actually becomes less active, which makes people seem emotionally distant. And all of these work together to basically make vulnerability feel uncomfortable. When we go into hormones and neurochemistry, hormones also play a big part as well as the brain. And people with avoidant attachment often have lower oxytocin levels, which I talked about earlier. That's the bonding hormone, and it makes closeness feel weird or not that rewarding. Their cortisol is the stress hormone, which spikes fast during emotional situations. So pulling away feels safer. And then their dopamine system doesn't get much, or the dopamine system doesn't get much rewards from social connections, and it makes relationships feel less motivated as well. Like you don't really need a relationship because what good is coming from it? It's basically how what that will put you in. Now, when it comes down to the early environment, avoidant attachment usually starts because of early experiences, like I said before. When a caregiver ignores or brushes off a child's feelings, the child learns not to show emotion, and their brain adjusts by just shutting down those emotions to basically avoid getting hurt. So before you can even, because you don't want to get hurt, you kind of just push that off to avoid that, basically. And as they grow, these coping habits turn into long-term patterns that eventually stick with them. Going into adult effects, as adults, people with avoidant attachment might struggle with opening up. So, like trusting others or handling emotions. Their bodies can get stressed, like feeling tense or overwhelmed when someone tries to get too close emotionally. It's not necessarily that they don't care, but their brain is just in protection mode. And that's all they're trying to do. They're just trying to protect themselves, right? And the best way to do that is by staying independent and keeping space. Now, can avoidant attachment change? And the answer to that is yes, avoidant attachment can change because the brain is very flexible. Therapy and emotionally safe relationships help the brain relearn that closeness isn't dangerous, right? Things like mindfulness or slowing down to understand emotions can calm the amygdala, and reduce the stress response. But it does take time to kind of improve, but these patterns definitely do improve at some point, right? And to kind of summarize everything that I said very quickly, avoidant attachment comes from early experiences and it's shaped by brains, hormones, and stress responses. These patterns make closeness feel tough, but they aren't permanent. And with support and new positive experiences, the brain can relearn how to feel safe with emotional connection. And it's less about not caring and more about just learn self protection. So basically, avoidant attachment is just a way for a person to protect themselves. And it's not always, like the best way, but or the most effective way. But if that's how, that's how a lot of people grew up. And yeah, so that is that. And then we have our sources, basically, where I got everything from. And yeah, that is the end. I thank you all for watching.